Hello, my favorite student, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, English with Speaker. My name is Tanya, and I'm a non-native teacher of English. I've been studying English since I was a little girl, since I was 6, and I've been teaching it since 2010. That's a long time. But the fact that I've been teaching it doesn't mean that I've stopped learning, because I truly believe that you cannot learn the whole language. This is simply impossible. But I now know some tricks and tips to help you make this process more pleasant, not easier, but more organized. So if I started learning English in 2024, the first thing that I would do is getting myself a teacher. Learning a new language is very stressful. I mean, it is pleasant because you are developing, but on the other hand, we all learn other languages to communicate with other people. And this is the most stressful part here because we are afraid of making mistakes and so on. Also, the world is kind of crazy, you know, time flies and sometimes it's hard to organize. It's sometimes hard to manage our time. That's why we need a teacher. A teacher is a perfect guide who can organize this stressful activity, who can organize your learning process in a better way. And I know many people are into self-studying, and this is great. I think these people are highly motivated. I don't have these skills, like I need someone to guide me. Self-studying is great for your receptive skills like listening and reading or learning different vocabulary units. But ask yourself, how am I going to practice what I have just learned? How am I going to use this new word or this new phrase? With a teacher. Moreover, with a teacher, you can make mistakes in a safe environment. Language learners, well, most language learners are afraid of making mistakes, using advanced grammar, using different vocabulary, because we don't want to look foolish. And we stay in our comfort zone using safe language. And believe me, I know what I'm talking about because when I was studying at school, I was so afraid of using new language. Using new words, using new grammar that we were studying because I was afraid that my classmates would make fun of me if I made a mistake. And of course, partially it depends on the school environment and class environment and the teacher, but with a good teacher, and I think if you want to know more about how to choose a teacher, I will make a different video. Just let me know in the comments. So with a good teacher, you shouldn't be afraid because teachers, are trained to push you gently towards experimenting with English, towards using all the new material, and also reminding you about the things that you have learned. And there is so much information about any language, so you can pile yourself up in all of this and then die. Just kidding. You will simply not want to study anymore. Teachers are trained to give you language in small portions according to your level so that you would look at it and think to yourself, this I can learn and actually learn it. So I highly recommend hiring a teacher at any level, or at least join, if your level is high, at least join a speaking club where there is a teacher and they usually provide you with any extra materials or just materials for the speaking club. I don't know, maybe vocabulary units or grammar. But that, of course, depends on the speaking club because there are some where you just come and speak. My next one is stop translating. This rule is for all the levels because when you are a beginner or an elementary student, all the things that you learn in a different language are actually so easy to show. For example, at the moment I'm studying 2 languages. They are Spanish and Hungarian. So if you look at this picture and I say in Spanish, la mesa, I think you can put 2 and 2 together. Or in Hungarian, asztal. Let's change the picture. La ventana. Or oblak. Okay, let's make it harder. Let me explain a verb to you. Again, you look at the picture and this is nadar, nadar in Spanish. But in Hungarian, usni, usni. Do you really need to translate these things? The thing is, the higher the level is, the more we need a translation. Because at higher levels, you get more abstract nouns or you get more things that exist only in the language you are learning, or they exist in your language, in your native language, but there are no such things in the language you are learning. On the other hand, if you have a higher level of English and if you meet an abstract noun and it is hard for you to understand, then first read a definition, what it means, and try to figure it out. And only then, as your last resort, go to a translation, either for checking yourself or if you don't understand, then you would just learn the meaning. In this case, your brain will not run back to translation as a safety jacket. But I'm not a lunatic. We have this advantage of knowing a different language and we have to use it. My point is, don't overuse it. And I actually have the whole lesson about translation, so if you want to know more, go to the description box, the link is there. And we're moving on to the next point, that is learn phrases but not words. By phrases, I mean set expressions, chunks, pay attention to prepositions and verbs that go with nouns, or adjectives that describe these nouns, because not all adjectives can describe every noun. You simply have to be attentive, and yes, that is difficult at the beginning and feels like a lot, but you will be rewarded. Because while speaking, it is easier for your brain to take out the whole vocabulary unit with the verb and the preposition and articles, and prepositions and articles are the nastiest things. You know that. So it is easier to take the whole phrase and use it in a sentence. Rather than thinking every time about an appropriate noun, then an article, then a preposition, then about the verb. Even thinking about the whole chain of this process is tiring. And in my reels, I give examples of such things like, do you have a good idea and don't know how to tell it to your friends? Use it if you like, you should. For example, if you like organic food, you should grow your own garden. If you like dogs, you should get two. If you like English, you should. Can you finish the sentence? See in the comments. This is a chunk that is learned at an elementary level, and you can smell a conditional there, and a polite advice, and a modal verb. And all of a sudden, this phrase doesn't look like an elementary one. But if you learn it this way, you will already know the structure and at least a couple of rules more. You will already know it even before studying conditionals. How perfect is that? Moving on to don't skip pronunciation tasks. Even if you don't want to have a British or American or Australian or any other English accent that exists in this world, you have to do it for your listening skills. Not only it develops your speech, but also it makes listening to other people easier for you. Be selfish. Don't do it for other people to show that you have a perfect accent and pronunciation. Do it for yourself. Do it for yourself so that you can understand others. In the end, we'll learn other languages in order to communicate with other people. And if you don't know this or that pronunciation trick or tip, there is a high chance of you not understanding what others are saying. And we don't want that. Unite pronunciation and listening and you'll be happy. By the way, I talk about developing listening skills in this video. The link is in the description box. And my last tip, and I'm sure that you've heard it so many times, but stay consistent. If you take classes with a teacher, don't skip them. Don't transfer them to some other day. I'm not talking about any emergency situations. We are all adults and something might come up, life happens. But stick to the schedule. Do homework, but better on other days when you don't have an English class, so that you practice more. And if you learn English by yourself, then you have to stay super organized by yourself, like work out a schedule. On Monday, you're learning grammar. On Tuesday, some new vocabulary. On Wednesday, you're practicing and developing your listening skills. Like, you have to come up with all this stuff by yourself. The main point is, don't find any excuses not to study. And one of the things that will definitely help you in this process is this wonderful, amazing, lovely, my first ever, and so that's why I'm so proud of it, Boost Your Grammar book. It's perfect for self-study, and even if you have a teacher but you don't have a class and you did your homework and you want to have more extra practice. This book contains everything you need to know about tenses, starting from 8 forms of the verb to be, finishing with future perfect continuous. There are also exercises, comparison tables, and even bonuses, because while creating this book, I understood that I couldn't miss on some information that was very important for me to provide you with all the necessary information. So head to the description box, click on the link. You will be more than surprised with the price. Get it and it is yours. But for now, thank you for being here with me today. I'll see you in my next one. Bye!